Great. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's roll. So let's start with our today's topic. And really quickly, let me cover briefly what's the agenda and what you should expect from this our quick co-hosted event with Iman. So literally what we're going to do initially, we will introduce each other. We agreed with Iman not to sell anything. So this is not a traditional webinar where guys prepare some show some elements, show stuff, and then they try to pitch you something. No, this is not the case. We won't do that. If you will be interested in what we are doing, what we are creating, building, that's fine. We can do the follow-up via messages, but we are here to deliver you true value and to hear your feedback, to get questions from you, to get insights from you, and that's it. The whole webinar should fit in more or less like 16 minutes, in 60 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, maybe shorter. It will depend on how many questions we will receive. Obviously, after once we do the quick intro, we will talk about 16 business critical features, and the stage will be for Iman. So Iman, you will be the star, explaining that from your experience, and what kind of maybe I could even call a hack you found that could save a lot of time for developers and allow them to focus on core innovation, on building the real thing which makes their product competitive instead of working on mundane tasks. So we will discuss the 16 features. Then we will dive a little bit into expectations of how long it will take and how long we think that it will take to build these specific features, because the reality sometimes misses the target, misses the expectations. And Iman will share real case examples, and we will have a quick poll for you guys and girls, only with 3 questions, asking you about your situation, how you think, how you feel, what's in your side. So I would appreciate your feedback, simply voting on these 3 questions. Then we will discuss very shortly about soft launch of a feature without releasing. To be totally frank, when I first heard this term, this possibility from Iman, I was maybe not shocked, but a bit confused. Gosh, how that's possible? How do you do this? And when I heard that, I thought, well, every founder should know that there are such opportunities, and you don't need to be a rocket scientist, or you don't need to waste countless hours on doing that on your own. And Iman will show you how to do that. And obviously, we will have Q&A at any time. So this is not a sales webinar where we wait till the end, then we show you our offer and we start answering your questions. Now, if you have any questions, put them in a chat or raise your hand, and I will ask you to unmute yourself and simply shout out your question, and we will go to do the follow-up with that question. So the first part is a really quick intro about who am I and who is Iman, just to cover the ground and to give you some reason to believe about what we share here, that it makes sense. So I'm a startup mentor, coach. I've been in marketing for more than 20 years. I've written and published the book that became one of the top 5 best-selling books on Amazon. And it was even used in California State University as the textbook for MBA students. But now my main focus is to help SaaS founders, software founders, online platform founders to get their first clients and then scale their business. And usually we do that by achieving 4 key milestones. First of all, getting real-world feedback, then crafting the revenue-ready demo, how to pitch your idea, how to show it, then taking the early adopters advantage, which means advantage for your business, for you as the founder, and obviously advantage for the early adopter to take your offer. And finally, how to build your customer waiting list. So while you or your developer team is writing the code, you actually simultaneously building the list of customers who are eager to test it out and who are willing to pay you, maybe sometimes even upfront, to get early access to the product. I'm the author of the Double Sprint Method, and you can access the free mini training on the Double Sprint Mini Masterclass absolutely for free. I will share the link. So no deep dive into this thing. I just wanted to show that I work with SaaS founders, and we have a specific methodology, step by step, how to make pre-sales and building the customer waiting list a no-brainer for your business, viable, feasible, doable. And eventually, my invitation is, if you want to learn something more about how to get customers for your SaaS, you could join our Facebook group, Founders Launching SaaS. That's pretty straightforward. Yes, we have the group on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn groups aren't so interactive and a lot of scam out there. So that's not my invitation to join the LinkedIn group, rather jump into the Facebook group. And if you would have any questions about sales, marketing, your SaaS go-to-market strategy, here is the link to a free call with me. 15-minute call, no obligations from your side, no obligations from my side, just both of us show up and discuss. If there's a good synergy, if I can help you out, that's fine. If no, no hard feelings. And now I want briefly to introduce Iman and ask him to introduce himself, because Iman and Oscar, they are co-founders, and Iman has built, I believe, maybe even more than 25 B2B SaaS applications. So you're kind of like a Mohican in this industry. You know the stuff, you've been there, you've done that, you've learned from your own mistakes, and actually you felt your pain point and how you created a new solution to help you out and obviously to help other SaaS founders. These are well-known brands, maybe not for everyone, while for someone, those brands are really well-known. So Iman, the stage is yours. If you could give a brief intro, who you are, what you do, where you've been, and where you're heading, that would be amazing.
Thank you very much, and thank you for taking the time and listening to us. I mean, a little briefly, my core competency, my skills in the fingers is software development. And roughly 10 years ago, 2014, I started to build my first venture ever. And it was bootstrapped, and it was a product that was towards the construction industry. And now, fast forward 10 years, we built 25 different SaaS applications, some that we founded for companies ourselves, some for others. And if I would actually count the ones that we haven't launched, we're probably like 50 plus. We try stuff that doesn't work also. And the variety is, all of them has been exclusively B2B SaaS applications, but the businesses have been very different. The application areas have been very different. It's been in the construction industry. It's been things tied to hardware, such as alcometers. It has been, heavily regulated tools towards public companies on the stock market. So we have been not very niched. The common thing that you can say about all of this is that majority of the products hasn't been typically the ones that you just go and fill in your credit card and click and buy. There have been a lot of the stuff that have been built organically, where you have maybe traditional sales methods involved, where you don't just have like a no-touch sales. And now, like 3 years ago, we decided to, we realized we built an innovation platform, and we realized that we want to do this in a more systematic way. So we built a company group called the Nebular Group, and then we started to build a new SaaS product every 6 months. And when we started this journey, we noticed that there is a lot of commonalities in between our products that we have launched. It's the same kind of pains we go through in the different phases. It's sometimes a lot of what we are calling the business critical features. They are rather similar. They work a little bit different here and there. And when we wanted to, systematize what we were doing and launch products every 6 months, we wanted to make sure that we didn't had to spend, repeated time on all of these business critical features that we will cover today. So we started building a formal process around it, being able to understand like what things do we need to check off, when do we need to do it, and how much effort should we put into it. That's when we started. And fast forward now, we can pretty much get all of that done within an hour. So that's what we're probably going to cover a little bit today, about what we have experienced, the pains we had in different phases, how we overcome them, why do the business critical features matter in the different phases, and share a bit about like the concrete use cases. How did we do this? So I think, Jonikas, you are muted right now.
Yep, now I'm unmuted, yeah, because I have traffic outside the window and I expect that it won't disturb us. So I wanted to launch a really quick poll for you guys who are here, who are present on this Zoom call, to give us a little bit of sense, where are you right now? So how much time you've invested already in building these specific features, and how much time do your developers take for mundane tasks? And yeah, so let us see where are you right now, because I introduced myself, Iman introduced himself, and we would love to know something about you. And obviously, if you would love to share something more about what you're building and maybe what kind of struggles are you facing right now, what brought you to this webinar, feel free to drop a message in the chat. So we will obviously go through that. I would love to know the audience, those who are here. So what are your struggles, so that we can tailor our discussion specifically solving your problem? Because guys, you joined it live, and our best effort would be to help you out in your specific situation. So meanwhile, I will stop sharing the screen, and Iman, I know that you will share your
Absolutely.
your PDF file, and every attendee will get link. I will drop the link a little bit later on in the chat, so they can absolutely free of charge to get these business critical features, to get that file that you will be sharing with us. Just waiting for some more attendees to click on it. I assume that if you're driving home from office, you might not be able to vote while you're driving. Don't do this, because I see only some attendees, clicked on it. But okay, let's give it like 30 seconds to finalize if there are anyone additionally, and I will end the poll. So Iman, if you wish, you can already. By the way,
you need to just hand over the presenter power to me.
Okay, so you will. Okay, now I'm ending the poll, sharing briefly results. I'm curious, can you see these results already? Yeah. So not a huge audience right now joining us live, but like how much time you've invested? Less than 10 days. That's great. If you could share the person who mentioned that you spent less than 10 days to build all that. For me, it would be very curious to learn what you are building. What is the solution? How you managed to do that? Did you cover everything with that, or maybe there are some nuances? So if you are able to do that, please share in the chat. Yep. Mundane tasks. Oh gosh, somebody spending more than 2 days a week on mundane tasks. And again, this is the good news, that Iman will show possible solution to you. Again, nothing to pitch from our side, just to share our experience, and that's it.
I mean, the message is also you're not alone.
Yeah,
it's common. This is nothing that is uncommon.
yeah.
And
Thomas. Okay.
Great.
Okay, Thomas, we see your question, and Iman, would you like to answer this question before we dive into these specific features?
Of course. Let's see. When I am a presenter, I'm not very technical on the.
I can read you out the question.
Sure.
How would you suggest to fight back clients' requirements versus planned roadmap activities? I have my own take on this, but again, maybe you would advise as developer. You've built more than 25 apps.
Yeah, it's there is many right answers to them, and I will share them because we need to give them some context also. So when, for example, we built our first SaaS app, we, to be honest, were very humble with that. We didn't know anything about the construction industry. So before even building something, we were, talking to 10 big construction companies in Sweden for property developers, and try to figure out what is it that they want within the space of our idea. And it was very customer driven. And it was like that for maybe the 20, the 30 first customers, maybe the first 500,000 euros of revenue. It was, if a client said something, we almost blindly said yes to the feature. But to validate it, we either priced it or, added some subscription value to it, because we needed that validation. Is this important, so important that you are willing to pay for it? It becomes very binary. It's not a nice to have, it's a must have. But fast forward 30 customers in, we had a bunch of features that maybe 1 or 2 customers were using, and they made the whole system not very coherent. And this was maybe 2 years into the project, and we started understanding more and more. And now we could actually take the steering wheel and say, this is the direction we should go in. And there was 2 things happening. We had a lot of built-in features that we wanted to get rid of, but also our sales culture became kind of driven by features. They were selling features also. So it wasn't only fighting back the clients, it was also fighting back the internal culture we built. The clients, the best advice I have is always ask them what value they want out of this. What is the problem it solves when they ask for a feature? They need to be able to quantify it, value it, but you need to ask it in a very good way. So, if somebody says, I want a PDF feature, ask them, what would you want to, like, what value does that give you? Is that only for your position? How does that improve your workflow? And ask that question to many other clients. Maybe there is something that, many of your other clients or prospective clients have troubles with. So I wouldn't directly fight back. I would say have a playful and curious approach first, but be very careful of how you value it and how you grade it. It has to both give you, a customer benefit, value benefit, drive your product forward, drive your internal organization forward. So there's a lot of parameters you probably need to check off.
So I would add one more thing. I obviously agree, and I teach other SaaS founders. If somebody asks you a feature, you ask if you're willing to pay the price. Either a lump sum money, yes, we can build it, we can develop it for one-time fee, and that's it. Yes, we will cover half of the cost, but you also have to cover half of the cost of something, like some part of the cost, and we develop, and you have the same plan as you had it, like early adopters offer. That's fantastic. Or we have to include it, as you, Iman, already mentioned, in the tier level. Okay, we can create the 3rd tier, which will be priced higher. Are you ready to upgrade? And the next thing, what I would do, obviously, I would say to that client, cool, this is great insight. Are you ready to pay for that? And we will decide if we are building it once we discuss this feature with other clients. If we find it usable and useful for other clients, then yes, probably we will build it and we will let you know as soon as possible. But if it is the feature that only you will use, okay, let's talk about money, how much important it is for you. Are you ready to invest in building that feature? If no, so sorry guys, that's absolutely fine not to build it, and let's skip it. And the 3rd point is have public and private development roadmap, which means public, you put it for upvoting for different features, and upvotes should be registered. It means not anonymous upvotes, but you say, okay, who upvoted? Okay, Jonikas upvoted for that feature, Iman upvoted for that, Thomas, Rauno upvoted. Okay, cool, I know this might be interesting. But obviously have the internal roadmap, which is not publicly accessible. This is what you're truly building, but you're putting up front public development roadmap with upvote features. And you don't have to obligate that we will build this by next quarter. You simply say, well, we are building these features and there's the list publicly available. Next, which means that next thing that we will build, it includes like those 5 or 10 features or whatever. And sometime later, or probably later, this is another set of features. So if you want to bring, from the later stage to the newer stage, you need to collect more upvotes. And upvotes should be from registered users. Otherwise, it doesn't count for us.
Another parameter to consider is also the product we were selling. Entry level was 6,000 euros annually. 6 months later, after they used it, they usually went up to 30,000 euros annually or even higher. So it made sense for us to actually say yes to a feature. It had that value. We have other products today that we sell between 600 to 3,000 euros annually. In that sense, we never say yes directly to a client. We need to use more of like a quantifiable methodology. For example, having an external roadmap, gathering feedback, and be full, like control our roadmap fully. Otherwise, it would be too overwhelming for us, and we wouldn't be able to give a good quality.
That's good. So, Iman, let's proceed with your topic, and then if we have additional questions, we can dive into that, because I know you're passionate about the thing that you do, and we can talk hours on different aspects.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as I mentioned, we talked about business critical features without even saying exactly what it is. You can commonly think about it as things you would see in every SaaS app. Like people need to sign up, people need to log in. Today, people need to have a couple of different authentication methods. If you want to have, you know, different payment tiers, they need to select that and be able to pay for it. All of these are business critical features. And then there is, of course, stuff you have in the app, but there is also stuff you have as a back office tool. So to say, managing your users or configuring different roles for your users and stuff like that also. So what we did 3 years ago when we were gonna build like one new product every 6 months is we pretty much took these features and grouped them into different tiers depending on the different products we have. If we are having a product that only sells to, you know, one-man companies and SMBs, we call that SMB ready. And then there we have a couple of features that would be needed for us. If we are selling to enterprises, there is other business critical features we need. But if we want to be like one of the top apps we see, then we need a lot more. So this is a kind of like a small checklist we built for ourselves that we use internally, that we can, you know, use to actually set our roadmap after. So in this case, you see, like, for example, SMB ready, sign up and log in, you know, transparent pricing, credit card payments. We need roles. You know, all B2B SaaS apps has roles. You have an owner, an administrator, somebody that can edit, somebody that can view stuff. But we were actually very fine with that. The developer handles back office things in the beginning. And then enterprise, then it starts becoming more complex. You know, they have some regulations, some requirements. They need multi-factor authentication. They need to manage their own users. They need to integrate your tool to their own authentication system and so forth. And the top apps, you know, the HubSpots, the Asanas, all of those, they have a lot of self-service tools. But also you see them in different marketplaces. They are selling their products through different partner programs. They are probably beta testing a lot, and soft launches that we will talk about a little later also. So there you definitely need a back office where you don't need to go to developers and ask them to do stuff. It should be even self-service towards the clients. So
that's great. Yeah, quick question. You know the movement like MVP, like build the MVP, like the minimal viable product, a prototype with just a couple of features, charge some money to see if it makes sense, then you can expand it. Do we as SaaS founders should really build all these features that are listed here? I mean, like even for SMBs, maybe, yeah, obviously, yeah, you need to sign up, you need to log in, but maybe not all of these features are essential. We could build them out when we validate the idea, when we get like a couple of paying customers, then maybe it would make sense for us.
absolutely. I mean, you shouldn't, how should you put it? Like, you should always try to get to market with something that your users can use. And if you can live with, you know, your first users not having a feature, or you can handle it, that's perfect. Sooner or later you will need it. So it's a matter of like, you know, how much pain are you feeling, or how much pain is the customers feeling, and is it the right timing? And that's kind of how you should be lean, because all of these things take a lot of time to develop. And that's why we set it out in a roadmap. We don't build all of these things in the beginning, or that's at least how we did before, until, you know, 1.5 years ago. We looked at what we needed, and then we moved on and put it into a roadmap. In what order do we need all of these things?
Awesome.
And we don't need single sign-on day one. If an enterprise client comes, we can actually even sign and say, hey, we will onboard you within a month, and then develop it and get it done. You should always try to be as pragmatic as possible. But the challenge for us was, compared to many others, we are building many SaaS apps, right? So the pain manifolded, and it put a lot of burden on our back office, on our organization. So we had to later on find a way where we could get all of this at once without it taking so much time.
And
But
for me, the personal take on was that yes, you can ask developers to handle many things like manage users, manage specific features to assign to user, another one. But guys, what your developers will be doing, they will be doing those mundane tasks. They will be like handling what's already built, and they are not creating anything new. They have no time for that. That's an issue. So for me as the founder, that's the question: what do I want my developers to work on? Either build the product, make it stronger in terms of like competitiveness, or I simply want them to do these like mundane tasks.
that is a huge issue. So you have like the greenfield period of the project where you're just building it and you don't have any clients on it, where it's very nice. But then as soon as clients come in, you need to add all of these features every now and then. And as time goes, we notice that we get less and less time to actually focus on the core features of the product. These are taking over. And as you saw, some said that 25 to 50% of their time were going to mundane tasks, whereas some had more. And this is how it happens in different phases of the project. We have a SaaS product that is 8 years in now, and I think like 1 year ago they had to do pretty big overhaul, where 70% of the time were spent on business critical features, on mundane tasks, on maintenance, and that's not what you want. You want to like be able to focus on your core product. So it's a common trend that we see. The longer the time goes, the more time you need to spend on, or the less time you can spend on core product innovation. So this is just like the order we do it in the roadmap, and there are no timelines on it because you have to figure out when it makes sense to you. So sign up and log in. That's of course something, but when do you need in-app management so that your users can manage stuff yourself? It is a bit contextual. If you have a product that has a lower pricing point, then it might be more self-service. If it's a product towards enterprise, you want them to be able to self-service themselves. Otherwise, you need someone to handle it. So it totally depends when you need it. Yeah.
Yeah, Iman, where in this roadmap you would see the product market fit? Which feature should be developed before the product market fit you would advise, and which should be like tried to be streamlined as fast as possible once you already have traction? When you see that like people are coming, they're paying for getting that service, and you obviously want to stay competitive, you want to deliver value to them, you want to have low churn rate, no disappointment from customer side. So where is the product market fit in this roadmap?
I would say up to, if you go from like step 1 to 5, those are things you definitely need. That's gonna help you when you are product market fit, when like things are moving fast. Marketplace and partners, just gonna help you boost the sales and your visibility. 7, 8, 9. If you don't have them post product market fit, you will not grow. You will start having problems. Because you will have enterprise customers when you're a B2B SaaS, so you need to be able to serve them.
Unless you strategically decide to focus on SMBs purely, and you don't want to take like large accounts of that. But
absolutely,
in most cases, that's not the wisest choice, because winning one client might bring you as many cash flow as you are working with hundreds of SMBs. That's strategic decision.
That is very, very true. So it's something probably not very openly spoken about. Like we hear about a lot about the product-led growth products and some B2B SaaS products. But if you actually look at the biggest SaaS products that are on the stock market in the US, you can probably see they have a pool of 25,000 clients. and 500 of them being enterprise products, that stands for 50% of the revenue. So there is a truth in those numbers that you should definitely sooner or later focus on the enterprise in your products.
Okay. Iman, could you share, and I believe you have some numbers, how much time does it take to build? We already asked our audience, and they see Rauna is the champion, like in less than 10 days using some generated code. That's awesome, really nice hack. What projects you've built and how much did it take for you? And any practical insights, practical advice on that?
Definitely. As an average, we took pretty much like everything that we've developed across our 25 launched projects and looked at how much time would it take to develop all of this. Most of the stuff we probably developed over the course of 2 years even. So it wasn't like a one-time thing. So in calendar time, it might have taken 2 years, but in efficient time, we saw it was like 117 days of development. Some projects more, some projects less. And this is one thing we didn't actually factor in, is that we kind of reused a lot of code in between the projects, but they are a little bit different here and there. And, we want to improve things. So, when we do it kind of manually and just had like a code library, this is how it looked. But the biggest thing was also when we developed it ourselves, we need to always improve on it. We needed to update the security packages. We needed to put some maintenance on it. When we were doing bigger releases, we had to do all tests for all of these things to make sure that they are working, they are business critical. So roughly, when we would try to be smart about it, a yearly maintenance time of like 20 days also. That's almost 1 month of work, you can say, that we needed to put on maintaining these things. So there was a hidden tail after the development.
It's not just to build that feature; you need to maintain that feature. Yeah. Actually, that's a trick.
We always romanticize about software because it's not going to collect dust and stuff, but security holes are explored, and you need to fix them. After a while, your version of the library that you are using is not supported any longer, so the security updates comes in something later, so you need to update everything, which in turn gives you other problems. So there is
actually, yesterday I saw the memo on, I don't know, on LinkedIn or on Facebook. It was like one of the myths that is quite popular among developers, that we will have time to fix this later. Come on, yeah, we will fix this later sometime. When, guys? So you are picking everything onto your back. You will have to solve that.
Great. So we have a question here. How many developers, engineers are you referring to when presenting the time frame? This time estimate, everything we estimate is based on man days, that we call it. So this would take 117 days for one developer. So you could put a couple or more and speed it up. The cost would be the same, but
based on development hours or developer work days. So that's like one developer per day per hour. That's that. Yep.
Exactly.
Okay. That's great. Now, could you share the story how you came to Nblocks, because you are the founder of Nblocks, the co-founder of Nblocks, and this is a really amazing tool. And by the way, today I was giving the presentation, the seminar in the college. Sorry for the noise. The jet fighters are flying over.
I don't think we hear the noise. It's
because I muted. Can you hear it now? It moved away. No, not yet. Okay, so we have NATO mission here. It's like air police mission, and time from time, they try to patrol over the sky. But let's get back. So today I already shared the Nblocks really quick story with the college. They are preparing to launch the hackathon, like an entrepreneurship hackathon. They have IT students. They will try to get some challenges from local businesses, IT related challenges and other industry specific related challenges. And I mentioned about end blocks, and their teacher, the professor, was amazed. Is this really possible? How can we handle that? So Iman, maybe you could share the story how you came up absolutely to that idea to create such tool and what it does. Because when I share with people and when I say that Nblocks even has the starter plan, which costs nothing, to play around and to build that stuff, they say, crazy, you should charge for that.
Yeah, I mean, when repeatedly doing something, and as mentioned, I'm a software engineer. I like software development, but I would prefer to do stuff that nobody else has done. All of these things that I've told you about is things that you see everywhere. It is being done, and it has to be done. That's why we call them mundane yet important tasks. We really wanted to guarantee a time frame of 6 months of go-to-market from idea to finished product to a go-to-market plan that we're executing. So not just the product development and an engineering phase. So when we ventured out in our first product, we kind of, without knowing it, we were building end blocks without it being end blocks. It was just, let's build something that we can reuse throughout all of our products. And I think it was like during our third product, we realized that now it is so simple to use that it only takes us 1 hour to set up. So basically, we built a really, really great control center where I, as a founder or somebody that doesn't have development tasks, can do a lot of these things, can manage the users, can invite them, send them a reset password link. If I, in one app, need Apple and Microsoft authentication, I can enable it. If I, in another app, need LinkedIn as an authentication method, I can enable it. I was very directly early on speaking to major enterprises, and all of them wants, yeah, we like your features, but can we customize it this and that way? Going to developers to get that done, I can do this from the platform myself. So we actually detached a lot of the stuff that developers has to do for us from, the business. So now the rest of the business, the product owners, sales can handle a lot of these things. It also, it's one thing that we added that we're going to soon talk about is the soft launches. That was also a huge beneficial boost for the development process. One pain we've always had is that we, at some points, need to launch or, do a code release over the weekend, because they could be, even if we test a lot in our testing environments, there are stuff that will happen when we go live, and we wanted to minimize that risk. So we developed a process for that, so we can actually launch during the day without any stress. People don't have to be up at night, and if something goes wrong, we can just shut that feature down, and the system lives on.
It's very safe approach to test that feature, especially if Thomas, I guess, asked if one client desires a specific feature, you're still developing, testing it out, and you don't want to put to every user have it and then complain you about some issues, some challenges, or collision. You just can do this soft launch with a single user. That's cool.
So it was something, you can say Nblocks was something we really needed ourselves. And we built three products with it before it became Nblocks. And then when we looked at it, we said, hey, this is actually something everyone else can use. So it automatically became our fourth product, you can say.
That's good. So you actually build the product to make your progress faster, to save your own time, and then you saw, guys, somebody could pay money for that. That's cool. I love when true product ideas are born from pain, like solving the real problem, not just like nice to have fancy stuff. No, that's right. And would you have any suggestions on how to make experiments faster? I mean, in software development, experiments faster. We already touched like that soft launch, And it leads me to thinking about how can I experiment faster? Is that the only one trick like in your pocket that you could use, or there is something more that could allow developers to test out more and develop faster those?
Yeah, exactly. Because let's admit it, like, especially in the early stages, and it's like when you go from 0 to 1 million euro, you change your pricing model a lot. You get new features. How should you add them? You repackage your pricing model with what features and how much usage it should be. And this is usually things that are quite heavily embedded into the code. What features works with what roles, what features works with what pricing tier, and so forth. And yeah, that's not the most fun thing for me as a founder, to come to the developers and say, hey guys, I need to experiment with this. Do this today, do that tomorrow. Now I have a tool where I can go into the control center and say, okay, for our free tier, this is the package, the features that we can package in. For the mid-range tier, these are the features and the usage. And if I want to change it tomorrow, the prices, I go in and do it myself. It gives me a lot of flexibility. So we have detached a lot of things from code releases, not just the soft launches. Same goes for our more custom enterprise packages. We can actually package something directly from the nBlocks control center towards an enterprise. We can even target it towards one specific client, one specific user. So we do it for our enterprise packaging. We use it in our A/B testing. So we have, similar-ish features, but we, divide our customer cohort into two groups. We actually, when we do soft launches, we gradually release a feature. So if we have 100 clients, it doesn't go out to all of them at once. It gradually builds up, and we have actually automated it. So if something goes wrong, the feature shuts down. But if it's good, it just keeps ramping up until we reach the maximum amount of users. So A/B testing, beta testing, packaging, experimenting with your pricing. There is a lot of things we use nBlocks for.
That's great. And I mentioned that we won't be selling anything through this webinar, and that's totally true. I just want to honestly invite you to test that out, because you can do this absolutely for free. You have the starter plan, which costs nothing at all. And if somebody is interested in, you can then discuss directly what, how, and all the details. But for me, it would be like a criminal accident if you're looking for help to roll out faster these features, if you haven't filled them out and you don't leverage that approach. At least you can test it out. So do we have any additional questions from the audience? Or maybe, Iman, you would have anything either to ask or to share additionally?
Yeah, let's you can stop me if the audience is asking about something, and I'll just rant on.
Yep.
We briefly shared the questions and asked, like, how much time people are spending on different types of tasks. And this is something that we have experienced. We have gathered our internal data and also external data, and had a look at how does it look in different phases of our project. So in the early days, when something is what we call a greenfield product, of course, you spend a lot of time on innovation. But it changes really immediately when you are an MVP and you have clients and you have go-to-market. You are getting the feedback, you are getting the bugs. It has a lot of childhood diseases, so you need to spend a lot of time on maintenance, fixing, improving stuff. And then when you have a lot of live stuff, it tends to be a bit more stable. The mundane tasks doesn't increase a lot. But then after a while, usually just after a few years, you will spend a lot more time on doing these mundane tasks. It can go from 40 to 70%. And there is a couple of factors. Your code will get outdated. So if you have developed a lot of like do-it-yourself stuff, that is security related, you really need to level that up. People have probably moved on to other companies, so the embedded knowledge they have in their minds is also gone. So your current developers need to be a little bit extra careful when they are developing. So that, leads to a lot of speed down also. And this is things we have seen from our own experience, as I mentioned, from other data sources that we have collected this information. And this is something that we wanted to make a big change on. This is our agenda, because we see that developers are spending less and less time on innovation, and they should only spend time on innovation if it were up to us.
Okay. Any practical advice on that? Let's put end blocks aside. What would you do, Iman, if you were in this situation, end blocks is not available there? And are there any other workarounds? I know that you can try to integrate with other authentication gateways, payment gateways, etc., etc. What's wrong with that, or what are possible, hacks for that?
Yeah, I mean, let's go through it. We actually tried to do it ourselves first, because we really didn't want to reinvent the wheel. And we said, maybe we can get some open source code here, buy a service there, and connect them all together. It turned out we didn't even become more efficient, because creating all that glue code in between the different services that we had, maintaining that, it was like, we spent as much money and time as we were doing on when we developed it ourselves. So it gave us the initial boost, but then, the maintenance was actually increasing, which was quite ironic.
Mm.
So that was we really tried to actually not build M blocks in the beginning.
Yeah. Why to build a product that will help you to build a product while you can simply build the product? And the expectation is that it should work.
It's something very well from one tool, such as like the authentication. But if we wanted to combine user information and control that, like with the features, to get the flexibility and do the experimentation, it was very difficult to get like a very good seamless integration there. That we had to spend a lot of time doing that. So there are different routes. If you have, you can be in different phases of the project. If you wanna, just have a lot of, just speed up your go-to-market. And when you're a greenfield product, then you probably, if you would use something like Mblocks, you would get a lot of benefits. If you are a live application or a legacy application, maybe, changing everything at once is quite risky. You should probably cherry pick what you want to use, whether it being Mblocks or another tool service or an open source service. You start with cherry picking and take the thing that is the most important and add that. That's going to give you such a big performance boost. It's probably going to, take down 10-15% of your maintenance time anyways. So you're going to, you have a lot of low hanging fruits to work on. Another thing I would advise is that separate your dev team into the team that is working on actually taking down the maintenance time and working focused on that, and let the rest of the team focus on core product innovation. Even if you need to add 1 or 2 additional developers temporarily or during the long term, that's how you're gonna be able to scale.
Got it. We are almost out of time. We promised to fit in 60 minutes, so we have 45 minutes running. Still, we have roughly 5 minutes. If there are any questions, or would you have any additional practical insights, Iman? Let's think about those founders who are in the early stage. They might have found some product market fit. What I, as a coach, as a startup coach, usually see that most startup founders, they they are able to find kind of like a product market fit. It's not like a pie, a very tasty and nice pie, but you have some kind of a client there, over here. These clients are different. You're unsure to which niche to go in. You don't know exactly how to tailor your product because you can't go all possible directions. You need to focus on. And one of the attendees, Thomas, asked initially if you have trying to attend multiple niches, you will have multiple requests for different features, and it's a headache for your development team.
Yeah.
So any take on this, any suggestion on this? Because from marketing perspective, I would say, well, show me the money, then I will build that stuff. But if you don't know which market segment will be more profitable, will be like the driver for your main business, how can you plan your business development in terms of these critical features? You mentioned that up to the 5th roadmap, you can still be in pre-product market fit. That's cool. But if you want then to scale, you need to have at least the step 5 done out there. But if I'm not sure where I will ship the...
Yeah. Because both, let's consider Homemaker, our first B2B SaaS app, and also one of our existing called Voxel, which is a proprietary AI speech-to-text engine, and discuss them in that context. Because where should I start? It's
what was the main challenge? What was the main question at that point?
Yeah, because in the beginning, for both of those products, we didn't really know what we wanted to build, to be honest. Okay, and for Homemaker, the real estate product, we were thinking about doing something in virtual reality, and it turned out to be something else. It's like a customer platform, like an e-commerce shop, where your potential homeowners can buy or select and configure their homes, and then it has to fall out to production. It has to deal with order management, with warranties, and it's something that goes on from like the course of 2 to 5 years. And we wouldn't have been able to find our way if we weren't kind of all over the place in the beginning. So you need to kind of first be a little bit everywhere, but very early on, you need to listen to what is the common pain point that you are solving for a client. So we could very easily understand, like 1 year into the project, if we looked at project databases of buildings that were being built in Sweden, and they were 2 weeks from letting in home buyers, we could call them, and we had a solution for them that would save them. We were their heroes. Yeah. So the solution for that became the features that we focused around the most. It was quick to enter, and it was quick to grow. First order value, 6,000 euros. 6 months later, when they added more of their projects, we 5-doubled the order values. So I think that the biggest customer pain that has the biggest scale, that's what you should focus on. That's gonna bring in a lot of new clients early on, and it's gonna define the niche. Yeah. Similarly, actually, for Voxel, the first application area was banks, and we were super proud. We got two of the biggest banks in the Nordic, one big bank in Europe as our first client. But 2-3 years into the project, we shifted completely to contact centers, because we actually solved a pain point that was so big for them that our lead to deal just went very close, very, very short. So we could speed up our sales there. So that was our way to figure out the product market fit. It was kind of the product helped us explore, but it was the customers and all of their requirements that led us to actually shifting industries completely.
Yeah.
So you need to innovate yourself a little bit, but every now and then you need to narrow down and maximize the specific pain point that you are solving and get as much value as you can from it. And that can be much, much higher than what we have reached.
What I'm personally taking from this meeting, that yes, I know now the list of business critical features. I know when I need them. Like if I'm still in pre-product market fit, I don't have to care too much about like the step 3 or 4 or 5. But after I already have received some money from clients, some traction, some sustainable business revenue coming in, I need to be at least on a roadmap step 5 with all these features in. And if I want to make innovation faster, I should look for some kind of outsourced outside solution. Well, to be frank, it doesn't necessarily have to be N-blocks, but I know that you build it, that's amazing. I can try to bundle some kind of like other solutions instead of asking my developers to build the stuff that was already built multiple times by somebody else. So I would ask that our developers should focus on core innovation of those features that create value for our business. And meanwhile, those critical features, those like points of parity, as we could say, like you need to have these features if you want to fit in, but they don't give you a competitive edge. So you can solve them by using outsourced tools or outsourced services. That's my take from this today. And any final words from you, Iman, because we are completely out of time. I see like guys are thanking you. Thank you, guys. I will check your products. Guys, big thanks for the advice and insights. So that was a pleasure. We scheduled for 1 hour, and I want to be respectful for that.
The only thing, if you wish to go deeper into a topic, that you had many questions or you share some knowledge with the rest of your team, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, or if there is questions related to Jonikas' expertise, please contact him. And yeah, I think we're gonna share a link to the presentation so the team, the people can download it, so you have access to this also. And I wish you all the best in your product building, and I hope you get big successes.
Yeah, awesome. A good wish, Iman. So thank you. I already shared all links here in the chat. So you obviously had to register to join the Zoom call. So I will send you an email once the video is rendered on Zoom, and I will put the link where you can access it for your own use. I will also put all these available links. And if you would have any questions to me, to Iman, you can reach out to us via LinkedIn, and let's keep in touch. So thank you, Iman, for joining us and for sharing your experience, which is invaluable. To build 25 SaaS products, it means something. Come on, not everyone can do that. So yeah, thank you, and thanks as well for everyone joining us live. So yeah, bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.